whoever you are in the world, this book is for you. And that's why universities are loving it. C-level are loving it.
AI should enhance us and not replace us. How does it work in a real environment?
Artificial intelligence has helped me personally and accelerate the way I work.
How emotionally intelligent they are in terms of, working in a cross-cultural environment or going ahead and talking to people.
I love your agile approach to how you manage all of these podcasts. I've witnessed and I watched plenty of yours, so congratulations to you.
Leading HR transformation across industries and working with Fortune 500 companies, what do you think is the most important factor in creating real change? Hi everyone, I'm Mohsinaa Ahmad. Welcome to BossTalks, where transformative conversations meet actionable insights. In each episode, we have conversations on the intersections of modern leadership, exploring how spirituality shapes decision-making, how sustainability drives innovation, how technology transforms business, and how emotional intelligence powers lasting success. Joining us today is Ghenwa Habbal, an acclaimed organizational psychologist whose groundbreaking work is reshaping how businesses develop talent across the Middle East and beyond. As a co-author of the bestseller The Talent Matrix and a sought-after keynote speaker, Ghenwa brings unique insights from her leadership role at Ford Middle East and Africa. Recently recognized among the GCC's most influential HR leaders of 2025 by Khaleej Times, she champions human-centric approaches to workplace transformation. With her academic foundation from Heriot-Watt University, Ghenwa continues to advocate passionately about the future of work that puts people first in our rapidly evolving professional landscape. Hi Ghenwa, how are you doing today?
Hi, Mohsinaa. Thank you for having me on your platform. I'm doing really well and excited for this podcast.
So, Ghenwa, please tell me, you have said that AI should enhance us and not replace us. How does it actually work in a real environment?
Yeah, I love your question and I think it's quite deep. Obviously, today we live in a digital era. And people somehow are still hesitant or skeptical about using artificial intelligence or ChatGPT in a way or another while they're working. It's very unfortunate and fortunate. I don't know if, depending on which side are you from a, society perspective. I think personally, in my point of view, that artificial intelligence is definitely there to help. And the reason I say this, I look at myself perhaps a year ago. I'm not going to go but flash it back to 5 years. I'm going to just flash back to 1 year ago. On a personal level, literally artificial intelligence has helped me personally and accelerate the way I work. Number one, right? So is it a performance accelerator? For sure, it's a performance accelerator. It's not a school, it's not an academy, but it's a great learning resource for me, right? Mm-hmm. I look at even my language, like my language and my dictionary. Has it evolved? Obviously, it has evolved a lot. Has my cultural understanding also evolved? Definitely. I live in Dubai, country or a city, right, that has more than 200 nationalities. And every time I meet people, sometimes, we used to go to Google and say, hey, Google, what is it that we need to learn about this, X specific culture? With ChatGPT today, it lists out, just at the finger bottom with the right prompt, the information that I would need that will help me enhance my communication with whoever I'm trying to talk to or reach out to, right? So it helped me customize easily my ways of communication. So did it help me evolve? 100%. If I have to put, a certain percentage when it comes to performance, it obviously has elevated, my delivery services at least on a 50% level. So I believe in the power of artificial intelligence for sure. And I always say it's there to help. It's not there to take over.
Okay, great. So you have coached so many leaders, I'm sure in different segments of the organization. What's the one thing that all struggle with when trying to connect with their team? And, when we talk about leaders, how emotionally intelligent they are in terms of, working in a cross-cultural environment or going ahead and talking to people on, different gender bases.
Throughout my tenure and throughout my career within the HR arena across different continents and different industries, I've always partnered with leaders and execs, right, on plenty of projects that we were planning to deploy in our industry, in our organization. And, where an obstacle usually appears to be, and this is also align with, the way I work with my clients as a coach as well. Obviously, there is a segment or an area or an arena where because we are operating under, so much stress, we are operating in a disruptive world, we are operating in a VUCA environment, right? So a lot of the leaders are centered around performance, and they forget that people are what drives business performance. And so we forget about, the power of our people in the organization, and we're more centered on metrics and OKRs. And we forget that the people are the business and not the OKRs and the KPIs, right? So a lot of us, we need to rethink and we need to change our lens and shuffle, right, the way we operate. Because the moment we lose touch with our people, it's the moment where we lose touch with ourselves, with our inner self, with our authoritarian inner self, right? And that's why I always say to any leader that I work with, to any of my, client base, I always advocate for really mastering the level of your emotional intelligence. It is basically, the golden gem, the golden nugget that you really need to, tap into. Because when you master emotional intelligence, and we all know emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. So when you start with that, right, a lot of the work that you need to do, a lot of the objectives that you need to achieve, a lot of the, KPIs that you need to meet will be easily met if you're tapping into the human element, the emotional element, which is, as someone said, that I've known in the past also, that emotional intelligence happens to be the elephant in the room and nobody wants to talk about because they think it's a soft skill and it's somehow a shame. But in today's world, this is what we need to have and adopt and master, especially if robots are going to be there in the future working with us side by side.
That's absolutely true. And I believe that in today's world, when stress is overpowering everything else, our personal relationships as well as work commitments and everything, this is something that really, organizations need to heed. So, Ghenwa, please tell me, with your extensive experience leading HR transformation across industries and working with Fortune 500 companies, what do you think is the most important factor in creating real change in DEI and talent management?
Usually, a flower bouquet is considered nice if it is arranged with the correct flowers, with the correct color palette, and has the correct design, right? And it's the same when it comes to organizations. We're a bundle of potential, right? And we have people in the business who are multi-potentialite, multi-skilled, and have plenty of aspiration, right? So for me, I always believe that if you really want to have a successful organization with a successful employer brand and a successful value proposition as a brand, and for your employees as well, it would be paramount that we tap into the energy within. And what do I mean by that? And I'm going to give myself as an example. Today I've been within the HR arena for perhaps 20 years, so that this is how much I have, an experience as well. So this is my bank of experience. And if I reflect on myself in the business, I've tapped into areas where I've partnered with marketing, and I always believe that I can bring back something to my team, to my function, to my skill set as well. So today, if I look at my LinkedIn, that experience helped me. Of course, it helped me think from a marketing perspective, what do I need to share with the wider society from on LinkedIn. Also, when I tapped into the sales, for example, sales function, I try to understand their mindset. How can I sell even better? What do I need to keep in mind so I don't do something that might jeopardize my perhaps reputation, my work in the future? So what I'm trying to tell you in here that when we create a marketplace where everybody can tap into different projects and they can bring back that skill set home. Home means like their function, their teams, or at least home is them. I think this is where we can really tap into the aspect of diversity and inclusion, right? Because when I tap into that marketplace, place, I'm also bringing something from the HR arena. I'm bringing perhaps, my human aspect. And when I bring my human aspect, this is when the power of diversity is multiplying over there, because I'm also helping the team in marketing and in sales to elevate the business criteria in a way or another. So having a marketplace in place inside any organization and tapping into people's energy and skill set, I think this is where we need to tap into and consider in order for us to really make sure that bridging diversity, equity, and inclusion, okay, and on top of making sure that we are practicing or we're tapping into the arena of ESG, like sustainability in a way or another. So if you want to have sustainable businesses in the future, this is where you need to start perhaps.
Ghenwa, you have authored a book, The Talent Matrix, and you have challenged the traditional practices of HR. So is there anything in that book which will make people go say, oh, wait, are we even allowed to do that as an employee or the organization?
This has been the highlight of, I think, my career, to be honest, to become a really published author on a global level. And I'm really blessed and thankful the Talent Matrix book, which I have co-authored with Dr. Suha Shaheen as well, has made its stride on a really global level, and it's today a bestseller. And, from the feedback that I've just heard, from those who have read the book or who have received the book throughout, the event that we had earlier this year, I can just, recollect one of the feedback I have received was that I didn't feel bored, Ghenwa, when I was reading the book. So boredom is not something that, people or a reader will experience. And why do I say this? Because the approach that we have used in writing the book is centered around edutainment. And edutainment is when you are bringing education and entertainment at the same time. And the way we actually wrote the book was quite provocative, right? So the language is even quite provocative because, myself and my co-author, Dr. Suha, as a personality or as like Arab female leaders, we're quite provocative. We're quite out there. We're unapologetically right. When we are talking with people, we're bold, right? And we wanted that, spirit, and we wanted that approach in our book. So the whole book is quite controversial. And what I want people to know is, like, when we wrote the book, the back end thinking was all about quantum thinking. And what do I mean by quantum thinking? Of course, it's inspired by quantum physics. And I would say in here, just to make it also simple, we didn't focus on one thing. We focused, first of all, holistically, considering each and every element that will help humans evolve and transform. And when I say humans, I'm talking entrepreneurs, I'm talking leaders, I'm talking C-suite, I'm talking parents, I'm talking individual, an HR professional, of course, right? So whoever you are in the world, this book is for you. And that's why it's quite controversial. No book has made it to that extent. And that is the feedback that we have received. Students in universities are loving it. C-level are loving it. People outside the HR arena are also admiring the work that has been done. But I want people to really consider having that book on their shelf and read it at some point, because I promise you, you will never be bored.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, congratulations for the success of the Talent Matrix. I'm sure that, in that entertainment, there's a lot of learning and insights that you guys have gone ahead and used the probably process of entertainment to make people understand what you are exactly meaning or, try to convey. So great.
Well, honestly, Mohsinaa, I think you really wrapped up everything in a short time. And I love your agile approach to how you manage all of these podcasts. I've witnessed and I watched plenty of yours. So congratulations to you too. One thing that I always would advocate for all here, passengers on this world, right? On this earth. And the reason I say this, it's because, we're here to do good deeds. We're here to do good change. I always ask, the people that I coach, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind, right? And remember, legacy is not something that people will talk about after we pass this life. Legacy should be in motion, be in the now, right? So whatever you're doing, is it leaving an impact? And is that impact good? If yes, then you are creating your own legacy. So legacy is always in motion. So my take is always, think quantum, lead loud from the heart, and definitely leave a legacy where you can.
Beautiful, Ghenwa. Thank you so much for this last minute of knowledge that you have given. Okay, and it's a beautifully said.
Thank you so much.